Good morning, dear friends from beautiful Boynton Beach, Florida. You can probably see behind me that this is not my kitchen with all my glassware. Um, I'm not going to be doing a beer tasting this week because I've got just, I don't know, some updates I thought I would chat about. And then I'll tell you why I'm not doing a beer tasting. Um, but yeah, so we are in Florida and we're here because my mom wanted to take the family, like my siblings and then my aunt and then all of our partners or spouses, on a cruise for her birthday. Um, she's going to be 74, but this is kind of like her 75th birthday because, she's getting older and her knees are not as great. So she's just worried that, like, by the time it actually is her 75th birthday next year, who knows where we'll all be. Um, so we're in Florida. We're leaving from Fort Lauderdale, and we are doing a 12-day cruise to the southwestern-ish Caribbean. So we're doing Aruba, Curacao, Grand Cayman, Puerto Limon, Costa Rica, Cartagena, Colombia, and then part of the Panama Canal. I think that's everything. Um, so I'm really excited because, you know, things in North America have been weird lately, and I just kind of need a break. I'm just sort of tired physically and emotionally and mentally. Um, I also have been on cruises before, so I love cruising. We bought the drink package, so almost unlimited drinks, Wi-Fi, etc. So that's really exciting. My husband's never been on a cruise before, so I'm really excited to see how he does. Uh, I mean, we both kind of grew up like near the beach and near the water you know, at some point, and so I think he'll do okay. Um, he just doesn't love like a lot of people in confined spaces, which I don't think anyone really does. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about places that I've already been on this trip because we got to Florida yesterday, and then beer places that I'm excited to see while we're on in port at each of these different locations. So yesterday we met with my brother and sister-in-law, and we're actually staying overnight with my good friend Lauren from Montreal. So the five of us went to Tarpon River, which is, I think, considered in Fort Lauderdale. And wow, it was really awesome. They have a really nice brew house setup, huge space, and a lot of it is just open to the outdoors. And being from California originally, and then having lived in Texas for a while, I miss having places that are just kind of open all the time. In Canada, there's such like hard seasons that you can't really be outside unless it's like summer, and we never know when summer's gonna happen. So yeah, so you're just everything's kind of open, like front, back, everything's open. Everything's just kind of like seat yourself, like, which I love. Um, they had a really nice selection of beer. They didn't have a lot. They maybe had like 12 or 15 different styles of beer, and some were like traditional, like um, just like a blonde ale or like a rice lager or a brown, a red, a Scotch ale. But then they had some like more interesting ones. So they had a 14% porter, which did not taste like 14%, but they had a nice porter. They had a barrel aged stout. They had a prickly pear sour. They had a coconut blonde. They had an imperial cream with honey. So just a kind of nice mix of everything. So I actually got a flight of 4 beers because I like to try little things before I get like a larger size. And then I don't know if this is like their brewery or if it's like the industry right now and people are kind of desperate for customers or what, but basically they have this deal where if you order any like pint of beer that's 7.5% ABV or less, you get a second one for free. So basically, I had a flight, and then I had 3 beers, and then my husband had 3 or 4 beers, but we only actually paid for 3. And so we sat there for like pretty much the whole afternoon and had maybe like 7 beers and a flight between us, and it was like $45. Like, just to me, bonkers cheap. Especially when you consider that they're like really good craft beer and not just like a, whatever macro lager, special, happy hour special. Um, so that was really good. And unfortunately, we get on the ship today, and then when we come back on the 24th, we basically like get off the ship and then go right to the airport. So we don't have time to see any other breweries in the area, but I was glad we got to see that one. Um, while we're on the ship, we do have a drinks package. However, it looks like it's your standard macro everything lager. So I think I saw a drink list, and it's like probably like Miller, it's probably Coors. Maybe there's a Blue Moon. They might have like one or two craft, but we all know that they're not craft anymore. So there's, I think we saw Ballast Point, like the Sculpin Grapefruit IPA. Yeah, so the nice thing about the drinks package is that you can get beer, wine, or liquor. So, we're not regulated to just beer, which is nice because, I can buy beer at home, but I'm not really going to go out necessarily and buy liquor often. So we get up to 15 drinks a day, which is a lot for me, and up to $15 per drink. So we can get cocktails that are like $15 per cocktail, and they're like these really fancy, multi-step, multi-ingredient mixed drinks. And then like I think the average pint of beer is like $7 to $9, which actually like is not super expensive. So I don't know. When I'm on the ship, I'll kind of take pictures and do like some reviews here and there, just if anyone's interested. But when we're in port in places, so here's where I've looked. So I've been to Grand Cayman before, and I've had their like macro beer called K-Brew. It's your average, just like international pale lager, which, great. But they also have like their tap room and their brewery. And I'm hoping that we can find a way to get there, like get a taxi and just go over there, because they have a lot of more interesting beers now. It's not just the lager and the blonde and like those kinds of things. They do have like some really interesting IPAs. I think they had like some darker stuff. So those are things that I don't think they really have like out in distribution. So I'm hoping we can go to the tap room. When we go to Colombia, to Cartagena, there were a couple breweries there, but I did some research and one of them seemed really interesting. And I can't remember the name off the top of my head because I emailed them like weeks ago and I didn't hear back. So I will put the name here. But basically it seemed really interesting. Like they do beer tours, like brewery tours, and it's like, I think it's like $10 US, and it's like you get the brewery tour, you get a snack, and then you also get like a pint of beer. So I was like, that sounds great. So I'm hoping we can figure out how to get over there. Some of these places like Colombia and maybe Puerto Rico are not, or I'm sorry, Costa Rica are not going to be the safest places to just sort of be roaming around or like getting a random taxi to who knows where. So we need to kind of be mindful of like what we're doing. So I'm hoping we can do that. I really didn't find anything happening in Aruba. So, if we see something or if I can look something up when we get closer, great. But I didn't really see a whole lot like craft beer wise there. Where else? We are going to, so again, Puerto Limon, Costa Rica, did not see anything there because it seems like a kind of small town. And really the main thing is like when you stop there, you get off the ship and then you take like a shore excursion. So it's not like there's a whole lot like right in port. But we'll see because, even if we're in the Caribbean and I'm drinking like macro stuff, it's stuff that I can't really get in Canada. So even if it's like a local macro lager, like I'm still interested to try it. So I'll probably find like a little, mini mart or something and see if I can buy a bottle or something to try. What else? Panama, we're doing like a partial Panama Canal transit. So that means we're not going like all the way across to the Pacific. We're just kind of going through the locks and then we go around the lake and then we come back. So we don't actually get off the ship in Panama. We just kind of see what it looks like. So really not a lot there either. Uh, and then Curacao. So I'm excited about Curacao because one, it looks really cool. I've been there once, but it was like, I think it was 1998, so it's been a while. Uh, and so I actually connected with someone who owns a brewery there, a small micro craft brewery. So he and I are both in a Facebook group online called Craft Beer Professionals. And I just remember like a few years ago, he posted a question about does anyone live in the Caribbean or brew in the Caribbean? And I was like, this is something I want to do one day, so I'm going to remember this post. So when I knew that we were going to Curacao, I messaged him and I asked if we could meet up. And I'm hoping it works out because he, we're going to be there on a Sunday, this coming Sunday, the 16th, and he's not open on Sundays, but he said, you know, maybe for like an hour he could come down and like show us around and that kind of thing. So it's called Tiki Mas. Tiki, like kind of like a tiki bar. Um, and again, like very small, which, you know, is like my dream. I don't want to do anything super huge. And they do like some interesting beers. So I'm hoping to meet with him. And then if I do meet with him, what I did, we talked about that I work in wine right now, and he said I like wine, but I don't make wine, so you know, like that's cool. So I actually brought him a bottle of wine from my winery to try, and it's called Beach Glass. It's one of our like white blends, but the bottle's really cool. I'll put a little picture here, and so I thought that would be a nice gift to give him, and just say like thank you, and you know whatever, and then be like, hey, look, my wine made it all the way to the Caribbean. I don't know. And there's like one or two other places in Curacao that might be cool to check out, but again, it's like we'd have to get a taxi and like go here and go there, and so like I'm just kind of trying to gauge like what we have time for. Um, yeah, so that's kind of like what I've been doing so far, beer wise. So then that's what's happening in the next couple weeks is this trip. So then other things that are going on. Yeah, so a lot of this like crazy tariff stuff. So, you know, I live in Ontario in Canada, and our premier like mandated that we're no longer buying American alcohol and whatever and liquor, and um so there's been this whole, I kind of feel like it's a publicity stunt, but basically videos and pictures of our liquor store employees like taking all the bottles off the shelves. Uh, I don't know, it seems really dramatic, but I went to the LCBO again on Monday just to see what it looked like, and there weren't any empty shelves, but basically what they had done was just moved new product into that area, and they removed like the California or the, you know, American whiskey, whatever, bourbon sign altogether. So it's like it was never even there. And then they have these other signs up that around the store that are basically like, oh, like shop local and shop Canadian and screw America and whatever. And I don't know. There's just a lot of shit happening with all of that. And I'm torn because I am American as well. I'm from California. So I do miss my California wine. I'm not gonna lie. It's the California Reds are just, they don't compare. What we have in Ontario cannot compare, or in Canada cannot compare. So it's like it kind of bums me out that we can't get those. And we actually, my brother, before we came on this trip, like last week, he asked if any of us wanted him to bring alcohol with him or wine or whatever, because we can't get any more. And it just was like, you know, it's a lot to carry, and if we don't drink it now, then we'd have to bring it back to Canada, and maybe I don't want to like use that as my my alcohol exemption when I cross the border. So I said no. And you know, I live close enough to Detroit, Michigan, where I mean, in theory, go across and buy, you know, alcohol if I want. But it's just, I don't know, this whole back and forth thing just seems really ridiculous. And anyway, I'm sure people have been following it, or they've seen things on the news, and so I thought, oh, you know, that would be like really funny if the shelves were still empty, and they probably were for a day or two, and then now they're just like everything's just been moved, and so it looks full and nice again, but it just doesn't say California. Let's see. And then the last kind of update I have is that, so if any of you have been sort of following my beer tasting uh, videos, I'm doing it because I'm trying to get better at, um, well, recognizing and like identifying beer for the Cicerone exam. So I'm studying for my certified Cicerone, which is level 2. And I started in December of 2023. And so I kind of got to a point where I was like, I need to just like cut and run, or like, I don't know, make a decision. And so Cicerone was actually going to increase the prices of their exams like starting February 1st of this year. So I basically decided I'm just going to schedule my test, because if I wait, it's like another, I don't know, 50 to whatever US dollars. So I scheduled my exam. So I'm actually taking it April 21st. So that's, I'm sorry, April 23rd. So it's like pretty much like a month from now. So the way it works is that there's like two sections, two portions. So there's an online test, which I want to say is 3 hours. It's really long. And then there's an in-person like tasting, and then like video portion where you like have to do like a quick 2-3 minute like video spiel. So I'm doing the online portion on April 23rd, and basically, yeah, you log in, it's all online, and then I mean it's being like proctored like real time, like someone's watching you. So I do that part, and then I think it's like a few months before they get you your results. I'm not sure. The tasting portion is more difficult because you have to find someone or a location that is hosting the tasting portion. And those are also like a couple hours, but you taste like 5 or 6 beers. You have some questions about various things, and then you finish that, and then you go into like the next room, and they will ask you, they might give you like a little piece of equipment and say like, tell me about this, or what would you use this for, or you know, whatever you know about this thing, like, you know, tell us about that. And then they record you. So because I kind of live in this like weird armpit of the continent, there are no exams anywhere near me at all for the year, the entire year of 2025. So that's not to say I can't travel somewhere, but then I have to pay a bunch of money to travel, and then pay money to take the test, take the tasting portion. Or if you can get kind of enough people together to do that, want to take the test in your area, they can maybe try and schedule it with someone. But right now we don't have that. Like we don't really have that option. So it's like the closest places for me are maybe like Chicago or New York City, or there's like nowhere in Canada except near Edmonton or something, which is, if you don't know Canada, it's a few hours flight. It's multiple days drive. It's like 3 provinces away. So I don't really know what I'm going to do about that, if I'm going to have to travel somewhere or just wait, like, because the thing is you can take it anytime. So I could wait another year and take it, but that's kind of what's happening with that. So I have a friend that took it. She was in my study group, and she took it in February, the online portion, and she said she was pretty confident about a lot of it, but then it got to more of like the longer like written questions, or like the food pairing, and she struggled, and I think that's what I'm going to struggle with. So I haven't actually sat down and studied for a while, so I need to kind of do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that on this trip, but basically I need to go over my food and beer pairings and my tastings. So I do have my next beer ready for a tasting. I just have to do it. So yeah, that's kind of what's up with what I'm doing. In general, in beer news, there's like more breweries closing in Michigan, just unexpectedly. So I don't really know like what the industry is doing, or where it's going, or what's happening, and I don't really feel super confident about any of it. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, but anyway, I think I'm up to 10 subscribers now, so thanks, y'all. That's really awesome. If you want to share with anyone or like or whatever it is that you're supposed to do to like help me get it out there, that would be great. Um, in the back of my mind for a really long time, many years, I've wanted to make like some cool screen print T-shirts, and I've just gotten into screen printing. So I don't know. I'm hoping I can maybe like start selling some merch just for fun. If you're interested, let me know. What else? Yeah, I guess that's about it. So I'm also, I've never said this, but I'm also on Instagram. My name is the Brewess there as well. And so when I'm on this cruise right now, or just in general, like I'm going to be sharing pictures and videos and stuff of what we're doing. So, follow me there if you want to see more real time, content. Yeah, but as always, thank you for listening to me ramble. Thank you for watching. Um, yeah, it's Wednesday. It's my dad's birthday. My dad would have been, it's March 12th. He would have been, what year is it? 2025. He would have been 84, which is really heckin' crazy. He died in 99, so it's been a long time, but wow, that's crazy. So anyway, cheers to him. He loved his beer and alcohol. Yeah, have a great rest of the week. Talk to you soon.